Hey, it's Entrate here, and today I want to talk about a manga. It's called We Shall Now Begin Ethics, or Koko wa Ima Kara Rinri Desu. This is a manga all about an ethics teacher teaching high schoolers. I know it might not sound very interesting, but trust me, if you like Great Teacher Onizuka, this manga might be for you. I kinda like this manga a little bit more because it feels more grounded. What I mean by that, it's just that Takayanagi, the teacher, is a normal person teaching your average class of high schoolers. It's just the way that he deals with his students that I find so compelling. There's this fine line that teachers face that I didn't really think about. It's a question of how involved should a teacher get with the lives of their students. This is something the teacher Takayanagi struggles with. He knows that it's wrong to get too involved, but sometimes he just can't help himself. I don't know if that makes him a good teacher or a bad teacher. All you kind of just think about is, did he make the right choice? That's the one thing about this manga, it just makes you think, which is very strange. Now, okay, let's actually talk about the manga now. So this is how he introduces his class to ethics. He tells his class that it's not very useful. It doesn't just pop up in your life, it's not versatile, and it's not very practical. It's really just a bunch of thinking and a bunch of questioning you do alone. The thing is, you can live your entire life without knowing any of these things. But don't you think it would be better if you did? And that's pretty much how a very bad summary goes. The thing is, you get to experience this 3 times, roughly. The first 3 chapters of this manga cover 3 student perspectives going through his ethics class. They are completely different experiences, which kind of remind you that every student is unique. Now, if you are going to pick up this manga, you should read chapter 1, so I will leave that out. It kind of handles everything this manga does so well, so you can just enjoy it. Oh, just a heads up, this manga is a seinen, so there might be some more mature themes in it. Just a heads up to warn you, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to talk about chapter 2 to show you just how interesting this manga can be. Like I said before, we get another perspective, and this time it's someone who thinks they're smarter than everyone else. There is only one reason why she even chose to take ethics in the first place. She couldn't stand the idea of not knowing something. So when she attends his class and Takayanagi goes through his intro, she doesn't exactly take it very well. Then the bell rings and the class is over, and apparently there's a girl who wants to talk to her. This is how we get our perspective's name, which is Sakai Miyuki. She never says her own name throughout the entire chapter, just for a heads up. Now the girl talking to her, Yagi Maria, is talking to her because she recognizes her. She doesn't have any of her friends in this class, so she chooses to talk to Miyuki. It's too bad that Miyuki doesn't say a single word to Maria. The reason is pretty messed up too. She thinks that Maria is an idiot and wants nothing to do with her. Maria seems like the typical energetic, super friendly type, but there's some nuance to it, isn't there? She does get Miyuki to talk somehow though. The second that Maria brings up the teacher, something in Miyuki comes out. She doesn't like the teacher because she assumes that he's looking down on them. So she goes over her reasoning, and Maria is surprised. That doesn't really matter though, because the second she's done explaining, she just leaves. Then we get a better glimpse of the way that Miyuki thinks. She came to a realization that everything can be learned from a book, and if not a book, the internet. So she gets annoyed when people don't know any better. Just keep that mindset in mind, I guess. Now, one day, Maria brags about the fact she got a 1-month anniversary ring from someone a little older. And as a result, we find out that Miyuki has dated before, many times in fact. So, Maria declares Miyuki her master because of all the experience. The thing is, she doesn't actually have any experience. She's never made it to the first date, because she thinks love is pointless. But there's no need for her to tell Maria, because that would be admitting that she doesn't know anything. Now, the next 2 pages are completely silent, but Maria goes through something a little traumatic. She gets drugged by her boyfriend and taken advantage of. She doesn't say anything to anyone, so nobody knows what's going on. It's the next day, and Miyuki has finally resolved herself to confront the teacher. She couldn't pay attention in class, and she blames the teacher, but she's weirdly observant of Maria. She notices that Maria is oddly quiet and she likes to change. But there's still something bothering her, so she occasionally looks back, which kind of distracts her. What's interesting is that the teacher also notices something's up but chooses not to do anything about it. Then the class ends and Miyuki decides to confront the teacher. Mr. Takinagi, why are you always like that in class? What do you mean? It's like you're looking down on us. I can't focus on the class because it bothers me. I did not look down on you. I treat you all seriously. Because of my personality, I can't smile brightly at students, act lively, or tell jokes while discussing seriously. That's disingenuous. I didn't say anything about telling jokes. See, even just now, you treating me like I'm stupid. I'm not dumb because I'm young. I can tell from your attitude that you're looking down on me. Also, regarding today's class, it was hard to understand the relationship between Heracles and Plato. The citation works too. I'm sorry about that. I'll clarify in next week's lesson. It seems you enjoy philosophy. Don't make assumptions. You're right. Every person takes the limit of their own field of vision for the limits of the world. Schopenhauer. You might think I'm looking down on you, but would everyone in the world think the same? You shouldn't make assumptions. You are a very intelligent person, so you might often think that the people around you are very mature. However, that's precisely why you must know. As Mr. Takinagi was talking, he suddenly stops and then he starts running. And then we see Maria standing on the edge of the school roof. For someone so smart, Miyuki tries to figure out why she's doing this. Maria just looks so happy, she didn't have a single care in the world. There just isn't a reason why Miyuki would want to end her own life. So Miyuki comes up with the idea that Maria's just so dumb, she doesn't realize the value of her own life. But at the end of the day, no matter how hard Miyuki thinks about it, she just won't come up with the answer why. I guess the only way to really find out is from the source, so Maria starts talking. Huh, Master's here too. I thought everyone went to their homerooms by now. Hey, Master. You know, I was raped. That one line gets Miyuki's brain to stop. Maria's boyfriend that she was bragging about took advantage of her, and now it just haunts her. And now it's to the point she's willing to take her own life. This is something that Miyuki just doesn't understand. So she just gives a textbook answer. Are you stupid? Compared to death? Compared to the importance of life, this is nothing. Now what the teacher does next is why I really do appreciate this story. He says to Miyuki that she's wrong. There are many situations that you can find yourself in that makes you want to exchange your life. So when Mr. Takinagi tells Miyuki, do you have any idea what it takes to climb over those railings? It actually strikes a chord with Maria. He doesn't start talking about what's right and wrong about the choice. He just admits the fact that it was a choice and it wasn't easy. This actually puts Maria in the mood to talk, and we start to learn more about her reasoning. Hey, Teach, can I tell you something? I want to become a bride. Impossible, right? I might even have an STD or something like that. It'll be impossible for me since I'm dirty. Now, this is quite a tricky situation. Miyuki would probably do the same if she was in Maria's shoes. So, the only person who could save the day is Mr. Takinagi. That is a lot of pressure for a high school teacher to have, but the way he does it is pretty interesting. It's definitely possible. Huh, can you prove it? When will I get married? Are you going to marry me, Teach? When you become an adult, I'll round up as many people as possible and arrange a mixer for you. Huh? I think that's the right response. A teacher doesn't really make that kind of offer. But since it's Mr. Takinagi, they actually take it pretty seriously. How many people will be there? Because of my personality, I don't have many friends. If I get everyone, 4. 4 people, maybe. That's including you, right? 4, including me. That's so freaking funny. Teach, I want that right now. You're still in high school, so I'm afraid not. Then, when I'm 19? They're all old men, so be quite awkward if you're still a teenager. Can someone like me ever find someone good? I can look forward to that, right? As long as you're up for it, Yagi-san. And then she jumps to the other side of the fence. Maria's actually happy that she's not in physical ed. Who knows what would have happened if she wasn't in ethics this semester. She thanks Miyuki for caring about her, and then proceeds to invite her to the mixer. Then Mr. Takanagi has one last thing to say. By far, the best proof is experience, Francis Bacon. Study a lot, acquire plenty of knowledge, have fun, and have many experiences. That's what it means. And if you do, your field of vision becomes so much broader. None of this makes any sense to Maria, and she just drags Miyuki to karaoke. Miyuki does complain, but she kind of gets dragged along. Before the girls actually leave, Maria thanks the teacher, and the chapter ends like any other would, with Mr. Takanagi saying we will meet again when it's time for ethics. And that's that. It's the end of chapter 2. That entire storyline happened in one chapter, which is pretty crazy. That's actually something that I like about this manga. A lot of the chapters can be read independently. They're kind of like self-contained in a sort of way. They do get referenced, you see familiar faces, but it's not very detrimental to skip chapters if you don't feel like reading them. Now, since I've gone through the story, at least chapter 2, I get to talk about random stuff now, right? So, I guess I can start with the fact that I do not like Sakai Miyuki, and that's completely fine. The main character of this story is Takanagi, and you don't even have to like him either. Although I am a big fan, all you really need to care about is the way he deals with his students. When looking at the way he makes his choices, you'll start to notice that he likes to put a lot of emphasis on the person, the student, making a choice. Even if the other option is completely immoral, he would still let it go. It's a really interesting way to look at things, I guess. The thing is he's pretty consistent with the way he treats his students. If you do get far enough though, you'll see his opinion on good students and bad students, and it is really interesting. The story doesn't really focus on a single student, it's the class, right? So if you do not like a character, Sakai Miyuki, you can easily move on. All it takes is one student or chapter to make you really appreciate this story. You really don't know what you're gonna get, right? Some chapters are really flashy, like chapters 1 and 2, and some of them are really nuanced, like 3, and I don't remember from the top of my head. And overall, this story is one that makes you think, so I think I can actually go over a chapter 2 kind of analysis, or my kind of viewpoint on it. To start, there is a reason that I don't like Sakai Miyuki. I see traits in her that I had when I was in school, and it just made me hate my youth. Like when you see her flashback when she says like, yeah, I spent my middle school years in the library studying, right? That's probably Copen. This is just me kind of bullshitting, but this is where my thought process goes, right? Her like being smarter than everyone is a kind of like a defense mechanism, right? Because if she's smarter than everyone else, she doesn't need to talk to anyone because she'll only be wasting her time. And at the start, I thought this is what she really wanted, but maybe it isn't because you start to notice changes in her behavior. She finds Maria a nuisance, but she's oddly fixated on her because she's making an attempt to talk to her. I'm guessing that no one in her life has actively tried to deal with her, so she just builds like a wall. Because at the end of the story, she lets herself be dragged along with Maria's antics, right? Maybe she always wanted to interact with someone but couldn't. So I did appreciate the character at the end, but man, does some of the characters in this story just bring out the worst traits in teenagers, I guess. When you think about Maria, all I felt was pity, man. I just felt bad for her. She kind of got the short end of the stick by being separated by her friends. And just because she barely knows Miyuki, she tries to connect with her, and that's kind of like her grasping at straws. Like from the outside, you think that Maria's super social, but there's no one really around her. Her PE friends don't exist in the story, right? So maybe Maria thought that they were her friends, but they kind of just were dealing with her. And then the fact that she has a college boyfriend in high school. Like, I'm not gonna speak shit about it, but she seems like she's very prone to peer pressure. And any form of kindness she gets, she takes it as genuine kindness. So when I see Maria, it's not someone super preppy or energetic, right? I see someone struggling to not be alone. And now, when she's facing the fact that she might end up alone forever because she's tainted, I get why she wanted to end her own life. Though that doesn't mean I agree. That reminds me, another reason why I hate Miyuki is that she doesn't have any life experience, but if she's trying to give like advice, right? Like, don't kill yourself. Oh, life is precious. If you, oh my god, people who don't know their stuff talking pisses me off sometimes. But I'm a hypocrite because I do the same. Now, this is where I would normally be like, oh, let's talk about Mr. Takanagi next time. Uh, but I'm not gonna do that. This was kind of like a one-off thing, just for funsies, you know. So I'll briefly talk about Mr. Takanagi. To be honest, his backstory is only intriguing because it's a mystery. Like, I guess it's normal to be curious about him because he's been divorced, he's still decent looking, and he's pretty intelligent, I guess. I want to say that doesn't matter, but that greatly influences the way that students interact with him. Like, Mr. Takinagi lives a completely normal life. He's only human. In the next chapter, you start to learn a bit more about him. And one thing is that the dude smokes, and he knows it's wrong. But the wrong is kind of iffy, right? It's the morally wrong, but legally not wrong. So it's hard to decide who really is right. And the interesting part of that chapter is that the student kind of gets his reality checked, I guess. Like, Mr. Takinaki knows he's not a good teacher, but hopefully that one of his students will be a great teacher. And I guess that's kind of like the goal of it being a teacher, right? You want to raise the future to be just better, slightly even, than the current. And that's it. I just think that We Should Not Begin Ethics, or Koko wa Ima Kara Rinri Des, is fascinating, and I don't think I'm going to talk about stories about like this too often. It's not because I don't want to talk about stories like this, it's because I don't really touch stories like this, right? Because you gotta actively kind of look for this kind of stuff. And that's it. I want to thank you for, if you made this far, please like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Thank you. I mean, if you made it this far, right? This is like the reason I do YouTube is kind of fix my talking and kind of archive things, my thought process, I guess. So this is the explanation for not posting like a month ago, maybe two. I don't remember. But I was working on a sequel to a video, right? And it's like one of my favorite arcs in Oshinoko. But I accidentally deleted one of my lines, took a week break, and everything sounded like I wanted to delete it. Yeah, so when you see that video, there's gonna be one line that's obviously recorded at another time because I was thinking about, do I scrap this video or deal with it? Though I am happy about one thing. There was a chapter in Kaguya-sama that was a bonus that pretty much confirmed that the universes are connected, so that's my excuse. It all worked out. So maybe expect that by the end of the year at the earliest, because I'm just gonna procrastinate for a while. Because yeah,